This week on FlashBack, from its humble beginnings as a social networking platform to the feared world superpower it would become, we take a look at Facebook and its subsequent rise to power over the years. We begin our journey in 2006. Facebook, previously having little to do with commoners, had opened its doors to anyone worldwide, providing that they had a valid email address.
Facebook was always a Harvard thing, you know? It was our website to degrade ugly chicks on campus. If they were hot, they'd get a like. If they weren't, they'd get an ironic like. And that was all Zuckerberg. He did that. He allowed us to be superior in a new, virtual world.
Facebook had just made a name for itself as a college-orientated social networking platform. It had proven to be successful in this endeavour. The next step for Zuckerberg was to appeal to a wider, global audience.
Who know MySpace though?
Zuckerberg's Facebook fast began to accumulate members in the hundreds of thousands. But it wasn't all smooth sailing for Zuckerberg. 2007 was Winklemania. Lawsuit after lawsuit was filed against Facebook by two men who demanded more money than they already had.
Basically, Mark Zuckerberg stole our idea. Facebook is our intellectual property, and we will continue to fight our case to the best of our abilities.
Mark Zuckerberg had no choice but to take to the courts like a bat out of hell, as the only alternative was a proposed fight to the death, Mortal Kombat style with the twins. It wasn't until 2008 that Facebook managed to settle all of its pending lawsuits, some of which dated back to the 17th century.
Who wouldn't turn down 64 billion? Am I right?
Mark Zuckerberg was a shrewd fellow. He wasn't going to give up his Facebooks. Well, not for the Winklevoss twins, not for the Pilgrims, not for anyone.
One thing you can definitely say about Mark Zuckerberg is that he's a fighter. The man would not back down until he turned this thing into a profitable business.
In 2009, Facebook finally turned cash flow positive. I'll never forget the day. Mark was ecstatic, all over the place like a rubber dog. He would say, "We've done it, guys. We've done it."
This is when the Apple company began to see the potential in Facebook. We knew that Mark Zuckerberg was someone we'd have to keep our eyes on.
There he was, in his prime, making money from what he loved to do best. Connecting people who need not be connected, but on a global scale.
With the introduction of community pages, new photo sharing services, and instant personalization, 2010 saw even more people flocking to the website.
Me and our last got a account around that time. Rorita!
And, how did you find out about Facebook?
Social network!
The social network?
The social network.
It was incredible. Simply incredible piece of cinema.
Fail.
Freaking amazing.
October 1st, 2010 saw the release of The Social Network, an incredibly accurate but overall poor film about the origins of Facebook, directed by then heterosexual David Fincher. It was phenomenal. The film gathered mass appeal, and I mean mass appeal. Mark and I were literally fighting off the bitches when the movie came out, and that's all we could ask for, as a business.
Of course I didn't like the film. Doesn't mean I didn't respect Zuckerberg. After all, the film was an incredibly accurate rendition of what actually happened. Believe it or not, I too have loved and lost.
The film, starring Jessica Eisenberg, was met with questionable critical acclaim, which indeed fueled the fascination with Facebook. In 2011, Facebook began adding new features and options, such as video chatting and same-sex marriages, which meant that the gay and lesbian community was finally invited to be a part of the social networking experience.
Well, I personally didn't need same-sex marriage options, no, but I'm glad they're there.
But it wasn't the gays or the lesbians that took the year by storm. It was Zuckerberg's performance at the F8 conference, where he would go on to announce a revolution in social networking.
Zuckerberg was very funny at the FA conference. A real rib tickler.
Just thinking about his opener makes me howl.
All I can remember is cringing.
But I'm Mark Zuckerberg. No, I'm the real Mark Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg's hilarious antics were seen online by millions of Facebook users, eagerly awaiting the announcement of Timeline.
Timeline is the story of your life, a new interface from Facebook. It's a new way to express who you really are.
Timeline was the most beautiful piece of web designery I had ever seen. It was so elegant.
Timeline was our baby. It was a masterpiece.
Didn't care for it.
There were all kinds of privacy problems with Timeline. It was only a matter of time before people started to realize.
On December 22nd, 2011, Timeline became the new Facebook user interface. It was loved by all. The Queen of England and President Barack Obama were just a few to gush with praise for the new and improved Facebook social experience. Things appeared to be going well for Zuckerberg until May 2012, when Thomas Worsfold became the first person to be killed by Facebook when his timeline ran out. There were a few issues with the timeline. Some users had reported a shortness of breath, hair loss, that they were coughing up blood, anal discharge. I mean, at the time, we just laughed it off.
It was an interesting choice, the deaths. They took us all by surprise.
Genius.
The Facebook team released various patches and updates for Timeline, but people continued to perish. None of them even thought to question the photos of a crazed and bloated Zuckerberg clutching a dead chicken, presumably killed by his own hands, which leaked onto the internet months previously.
Scruffy, get back, you flea infested mongrel!
2014 was a controversial year for Facebook after a tweet by Pope Benedict the Something. If Jesus walked amongst us today, he would most certainly use Facebook, as it would be the most convenient way to deliver the word of God to the people. I remember at the time, we thought that was quite the compliment.
It was a real test to people's faith. Would he or wouldn't he?
Well, I had my suspicions. Yes, I suspected that it was, in fact, a hoax. Pope Benedict the Something, to my knowledge, has been dead for at least 25 years.
The hoax was revealed to be part of a demonstration by Internet Bastards Anonymous, as part of a campaign to raise awareness of privacy concerns with Facebook's timeline.
Jesus would not have used Facebook, at least not after Timeline. There is no privacy, no anonymity. We had to make a statement. We had to try and get people to question Facebook.
But they needn't have bothered, as 2015 saw the release of the all-seeing iPad from Apple. It RRP'd at $999,999, and everybody bought one.
The AS iPad was a great success, technologically, aesthetically, financially.
I heard that the Apple company got hold of a psychic who channeled the thoughts of Steve Jobs during the design process. This was the last real product that Steve himself was able to supervise and be a part of, making it a much more profound, spiritual experience.
It was a bit pricey, but O2 were doing a deal at the time where if you sold your soul to Apple, you could get one on a monthly contract. Not bad, that is it?
But it was the collaboration between Zuckerberg and the Apple company that made 2015 one of the most groundbreaking years in technology so far.
Facebook Timeline for the all-seeing iPad was a milestone. It captured everything for everyone.
A beautifully crafted, trustworthy application.
Genius.
If the Facebook profile page was a reflection of the first 5 minutes of your conversation, and Timeline was the next couple of hours, then Timeline 2.0 for the AS iPad is everything you've ever done, said, or thought about, and it belongs to us. Not. I'm just kidding, it does.
Timeline 2.0 combined with the all-seeing iPad put a stop to anonymity online. It invaded our privacy, our human rights. It had to be stopped.
On January 1st, 2016, 4chan declared war on Facebook.
It was a worrying spectacle. 4chan were not to be taken lightly. Regarded as the birthing place of Anonymous, 4chan had attacked the Church of Scientology, Abba Hotel, and even Gene Simmons.
The Gene Simmons stuff was classic, but this was something else.
I just found it hard to believe that there were people out there that disliked our products, no matter how intrusive it was.
We had to stand as one, as Legion, and we welcomed anyone who was prepared to join us in our struggle to liberate the internet.
By March, deserters from MySpace, Tumblr, and Twitter had joined forces with 4chan, but to no avail. On September 8th, 2016, Mark Zuckerberg had bought the internet. In 2017, Facebook became confidential business, and its operations remained out of the public eye. It was around this time that Mark Zuckerberg began to refer to himself as a demigod, forcing global news networks around the world to begin with images of him descending from the skies.
That was just classic Zuckerberg, you know? He loved to fool around.
Zuckerberg, aside from his VTs on the news networks, he kept out of the spotlight, preferring to deal with his clients and minions through his own Facebook timeline.
Many of us were concerned about Mark's mental health, but when we voiced our opinions, he would get angry. He would unfriend us, threaten to ban us from Facebook. On the 14th of November 2017, Facebook reached a milestone when its 1 zillionth photo had been uploaded.
There were parties in street. We're all outside dancing with us, all seeing iPads, Instagramming pictures of each other and slowly dying a little inside.
The celebrations were fantastic. Everybody was having such a good time.
By 2018, however, the celebrations ended when Mark Zuckerberg announced his plans for world domination via a video blog on his Facebook timeline.
We've invaded people's personal space on the internet. We've invaded their homes. And now it's time for Facebook to invade their countries.
Well, it was common knowledge that Facebook had begun harboring weapons of mass destruction throughout 2017, but nothing was ever done about it.
I guess people thought it was hypocritical in a way to not trust Mark with nuclear weaponry. They'd already trusted him with their lives. On the 1st of July 2018, Facebook invaded Poland.
To be honest, it was about time somebody invaded their country.
The way Zuckerberg saw it, if he got Poland, then the rest of Europe would fall like dominoes. And he wasn't wrong.
Despite their best efforts to resist, Europe was enamored with Facebook and fell to Zuckerberg's cyber army by the end of the year. 2019 was the year the world stood still. Europe, now the property of Facebook, had no choice but to comply when Zuckerberg's attention turned from world domination to space travel. It was all very strange. 1 minute Mark wanted to rule the world, the next he was hiding out in a bunker in Moscow demanding rocket fuel.
After the fall of Europe, we just didn't know what to expect. Nobody would step in because they knew who he was friends with on Facebook.
Well, I heard that Zuckerberg had grown tired of humanity for all its flaws, that he wanted to get away and start a civilization elsewhere.
I heard that Zuckerberg wanted to blow up the moon because he thought it was laughing at him, laughing at all his accomplishments.
I heard that he wanted to touch a star.
He wasn't far off. On October the 11th, 2019, Mark Zuckerberg uploaded his final video blog that was to change the world forever.
Foolish mortals, it is I, the great Sun Ra, ruler of the cosmos, emperor of the Galactic Alliance, inventor of the cheeseburger, the last of the mugwumps. Using your precious Russian space program, I will blast off into the universe and become one with the sun. Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me.
That's when we, stopped using Facebook.
It was clearly on a lot of drugs. People were having none of it. I mean, what are we? Hippies?
Don't get me wrong, I was all for Coney 2012, but Mark Zuckerberg wouldn't last 5 minutes on the sunny streets of San Diego.
Good for nothing smackhead. That's all you were. We just logged out and got on with it.
It's just a shame that it had to end that way. It really was. People lost their trust in Facebook. Sales for the AS iPad plummeted. It really was quite tragic.
That was that, really. Facebook lost all funding, had to close down. The internet became part of the public domain again.
We did it. All it took was the public failings of a celebrity and a narrow-minded perception of drugs to liberate us all. We were finally free.
It is now 2020, the year of freedom. Idiots of the world have learned to live without Facebook and are beginning to enjoy the finer pleasures in life.
So we're excited to announce a new innovative web service, an application like no other, a social networking platform to bring people together, to inspire society, to make the world a better place. Tonight, we bring to you Bookface. Remember, that's with a B, not an F. No, that'd be Fuckface.
Next time on Flashback, we examine the rise of the Apple Company.
There were things that Steve did, that I did, that I'm not proud of.
If you didn't own an all-seeing iPad, they would just take you down to village stocks and throw bits of our vegetables at you.
I remember when they made the decision to change the fusty old Christian cross symbol and replace it with the more aesthetically appealing Apple logo. I thought it was pretty bitching at the time.